people and say to them, my korban lachmi leishai, for me to a fire. And you shall say to them, Zeh Ishe, okay, what is the korbanos? So what does it mean, V'amarta beit pamim? First it says, V'amarta lehem, and then it says, V'amarta lahem. Why is it God telling us in the same pasuk two different things? He's already saying it. All of the mitzvahs a person has to do in thought, in speech, and in action. So too the korbanos. What is the thought? Is prayer. Okay, machshava is tefillah, which is avoda in your heart, which is the korbanos. When you're doing prayer, it's like the korbanos you do today. Today we're doing prayer instead of korbanos. Dibur is Talmud Torah. The korbanos calls it Torah Olah. Okay, in speech is learning Torah, and in the korbanos, what does that mean? Whoever learns about the Torah of the Olah, it's as if he's bringing the Olah. That's if he feels it in Dibur. Which means we're trying to explain how you do the korbanos today. So in thought, you do it through prayer, which is the kavana in your heart, for example. In speech, you do it by the learning about the korbanos. And in action, what is it? Of the korbanos themselves. Okay, you take a who am I say? Okay, didn't tell you how to do it. Okay, I mean, what's the ma'aseh today? We don't know. Okay. This is the korban itself. The pasuk rishon tzava b'nei Israel, the first pasuk when it says command the Jewish people, goes on machshava and dibur. Okay, so basically the first verse goes on thought and speech, which is basically thought is prayer, speech is learning about it, and then the second pasuk is when it says v'amarta again, it's talking about action. Okay, so far so good. So explaining this thing is like this. We have to understand what is the inyan of reich nichoach. Okay, reich nichoach that talks about the korbanos. As the sages say, nachad ruach lefanai. There's a nachad ruach in front of me. Shamarti that I said na'aseh ratzoni, that you will do my desire. Shezeh shayach b'chol hamitzvot. This is connected to all of the mitzvahs. Okay. Why is this aspect connected to the korbanos if it relates to all the mitzvahs? We have to also understand why is the vote of the korbanos dependent on the Beis Hamikdash specifically, which other mitzvahs and learning Torah, which is equal to all the mitzvahs, specifically even in your thought and speech of the korbanos, which is prayer, that's connected to the korbanos, and Talmud Torah of the korbanos, you could do them when the Beis Hamikdash is not there. It says in the pasuk, "Hayom lasotam v'lo machar." Today we'll do them and not tomorrow. Lasotam she'olam hazeh davka olam ha'maaseh. In this world is the world of action. V'bo nitna habechira biyad, and we got choice in our hands in this world. We have free choice that a person could choose in good, and not only that, even. If a person did an avera, he could return and do tshuva, and to return to avodas Hashem. But if you're in olam haba, in the world to come, there is no free choice in a person's hand. Okay, meaning the way a person fixed himself in this world and did all the work that he had to do, when he goes to the world to come, he stays the way that he up until what he did here. Now you can change everything, okay? And then when you go to the next world, so to speak, olam haba, then you basically can't change anything anymore. Okay, in the world to come, there's a great amount of godly revelation, and a person's completely nullified in this great light. And the hosts of heaven are bowing down to you, and the klipas of sitra achra. They are completely nullified to Hashem. They call him the King of all kings. Okay, he sees that they themselves are nullified. Okay, but he cannot. But in this world, those powers, they come to you and try to overpower you on your animal desires. In this world, they try to completely overpower you. So when a person is overpowered in this world by all the animalistic desires, and he's controlled by them, which are all of these negative forces that are controlling the person, he has to go what is called kafakela. Okay, you know what that means? It means that they throw him in his thoughts, okay? That in his thoughts, he's so deep in the gashmis, in this world, he's thinking about money and food and all the physical pleasures that he could have in this world, and all the pleasure within his thoughts. His soul basically gets swung to all those thoughts, and then it gets swung back to the spiritual worlds where he's like, well, there's God, I want Hashem, I want to be connected to Hashem, I feel dvekus, I feel avanira. So the swing between both those things is a very painful thing for a person's soul, because he's so glued to all of his desires in the physical world. Okay? All of the vanity of the world, and then it's as if he still stands in the physical world. They swing him into his thoughts and his desires, and then he thinks in speech and does according to that way. So this thought, speech, and action, they are three different garments, as is known, that his soul has these garments in this world, and they become this thick garment and clothes that are very dirty from this world, that he has like these dirty garments on his soul. Okay? From the head to the toes, as the sages say, it completely envelops him. And it says a person who is in jail cannot free himself from the jail. It says, take off your dirty clothes. What does it mean? Hesiru daika. I think it basically means that they're going to help you take it off. Okay, so now it says in the Zohar Kadosh, in Parsha Mishpatim, in Parsha Truma, it discusses what this thing is. Okay, that's where it discusses it. Now, the reason for the difference between this world and the world to come is that in the world to come, ein lecha davar she'ein la makom. There's nothing that doesn't have its place in the world to come. Shekol madrega hi muvdelet mechevrata. Every level is separated from its friend. You have, for example, souls. You got angels of kedusha. They're by themselves, and there's no evil that's connected to the good that's in them at all. Therefore, in a place that draws down any bad, lo nimshach tov klal, there won't be any good at all that will be drawn down there. But in this world, what happens is that the good gets drawn down even in a place where there's bad. Even if a person did an avera, you can still do a mitzvah. And you could change your reason from bad to good. So basically, in this world, all of a person's intentions are mixed. Let's say a person wants to do something, he wants to create something, he wants to do something that's good, and his original intention comes from a place of goodness. But then he starts doing it, and he's like, "Oh, I'm going to prove this person this. I'm going to be this." So all of a sudden, it gets mixed in all the negative intentions into the positive intention, because basically the ego is like a negative force that tells you that it's good that you do it like this. You want to do it's a mitzvah, The person's like, "Oh, I'm gonna spend all my day, making money." So then it's because I'm gonna do a mitzvah tzedakah. Well, then you put yourself too much into the kelim and you convince yourself that it's a mitzvah to do it. There's all these different cases like that. So the person gets out of balance of kedusha and convinces himself that it's a mitzvah to do that thing. So he's mixing the ultimate good, pure intention that he wants to moser this neshama for kedusha, and now he's mixing into this, and the yetzer is mixing everything together, and then you basically come out of this confused thing, and you're like, "Oh, I'm doing good. I want to do good," but it's all mixed up with bad. That's this world. Everything's completely mixed up. How do you purify your intention? How do you build something purely from good intentions without mixing it with bad? How do you do all those things? Okay, so now in this world, in Olam Haba, in Olam Haba, in the world to come, there's a revelation of the Or Ein Sof. In Gan Eden is a very big pleasure for the souls that get pleasure on Hashem in their understanding in the Or Ein Sof, that come to them in a revelation. In this revelation and understanding creates many divisions and levels, from infinite levels, from world to other worlds, in angels and in souls, okay? even though that all of them receive from the Or Ein Sof Baruch Hu, all of them receive from God's infinite light. It's like a soul that spreads out in the body. Even though that the soul itself, there's no divisions, nonetheless, the eye receives the power of sight, and the ear receives the power of hearing, etc., etc. Every limb gets a specific individual power that the other one doesn't receive. Until one action doesn't look like its friend's action, they're completely different. So too in the Seder Ishtalshus. If you look in the spiritual world, you have, let's say, the camp of Michael. The angels Michael, they have love of Hashem. Gabriel has fear of Hashem. And every tzaddik, yesh lo medur b'fnei atzmo. He has a specific place by itself, okay? And you cannot change one limb to do another action, okay? You cannot turn a leg into a head. So too, in the spiritual world, you cannot change revelation of the Seder Ishtalshus in the world to come. And this is called Malkul Almim. All of this is called the light that it gets enclosed in the world. This Heichal shows love. This angel has fear. This thing, everything is like a power within a limb. So therefore, after a person drew down onto himself garments of the physical world and dirty garments, okay, now he's blocking himself from the revelation of the Or Ein Sof and Olam Haba. But because he was living in physicality in this world, it's mutar, it's a mitzvah, all the tricks that come down to mix good intention with bad intention. Okay? But when you join the Or Ein Sof in Olam Hazeh through the Torah and mitzvahs, Asher Yaseh Otam Adam b'Ma'aseh Mochshava, but when you do Torah mitzvahs in this world with thought, speech, and action, okay. When you draw down that, it comes from the Sof Almim, the transcending light. That through the mitzvahs in the Torah, that inside of them is mislabesh, the Or Ein Sof Baruch Hu himself, that no thought can grasp him at all. And then you draw down Hashem's infinite light itself, the all-encompassing light, al nafsho, onto a soul, Shahu l'mayla, that's much higher than any understanding you'll get in Gan Eden, in the Garden of Eden. As it says in Tanya chapter 48, that Sof Kol Almim represents something that's hidden. Mamal Kol Almim represents something that's revealed. But it's revealed through a lot of tzimtzumim, a lot of contractions. But Sof Kol Almim is still an aspect of the Ein Sof. This revelation that's in Gan Eden is only a ray alone from a person's Torah and the avoda that he did in this world. Whatever you do in this world, whatever Torah you learn and the avodas Hashem you do in this world, you get a revelation in Gan Eden, and it's like unbelievable thing. But in the end of the day, it's only a very minute mitzumtzum part of your avodas Hashem. As it says, Adam Rishon was put in the garden to la'avda l'shamra, to work at it and to guard it, which basically means that a person is drawing into Gan Eden, the revelation in Gan Eden, and the pleasure of the souls, and the Or Ein Sof itself, the Sof Kol Almin, the transcending light, that's equal from big to small, and dark and light are the same. And then the angels say, where is the place of God's glory? And they say, the glory is filled on the earth. Why? Because only we have an ability to touch the Sof Kol Almin light, the transcending light, through Torah mitzvahs, because there you get the ultimate revelation of the Ein Sof, but just that it's hidden. Okay, if a person fell very low, he can raise above very high, that the beginning is wedged in the end. Okay? The mashal is you cannot take a leg and turn it into a head. It doesn't work that way. That is an olam haba, which is a world that's clear, that all the things are clarified. Everything is in its place. You have the head, and you got the foot. Therefore, you cannot change it. But in this world, before you do the birurim, you have the world. It's the world of action, and the birur hazeh This birur is like a child before the head goes out. Okay, sorry, before the head and the foot were created, and it was all one thing in a seminal point in the stomach of the mother, that it could change. Okay, in different ways, as the Gemara says in Barachos. Okay, it says the toch arbim yom l'tziat vlad mo'il tipa shetolid zachar. It says before 40 days, then you could pray. You want to have a boy, you want to have a girl. It could change its gender, but when it's 40 days, the gender is set. So basically, up until then, you could still change things. Okay, now paragraph bet, we're saying the following. Zeu inyan koach tshuva la'ashiv achayut hemshech lamata el mekora. This is the aspect of tshuva that you could return the chayus, return the life force that comes drawn down to its source. Okay, it says the beginning is which in the end. This that it went very, very down is the mamalkal almin, that it comes from God's malchus. Okay, it says malchuto b'chol mishalah. It goes from world to world. Whatever goes down gets diminished of the revelation of the Orens of Baruch Hu. Bittul, the gilu is the aspect of nullification. Shein Orens of Baruch Hu shorem mitkaleh, that God's Ein Sof only gets revealed in something that is nullified. In the world of Atzilus, it's a very big revelation, that it's a great bittul and unification. Over there, it goes to the world of Bria, that the revelation is to be bittul, you cannot compare it to the world of Atzilus. And then the ultimate descent from level of Kedusha and lower worlds of Asiya in this world is the aspect of why we bow in Modim. As it says, whoever does not bow in Modim, okay, he did not get to this level of bittul. What the Shulchan Aruch says, if someone doesn't bow in Modim, then his spine turns into a snake, and it takes 7 years for it to decay. Shulchan Aruch, what's going on there? What's the explanation? So it says it turns into a snake of Klipa and Sitra Achra, and the Zohar says that this person won't get up in Tchiyat Meitim. Okay, if you do not bow in Modim, you don't get up in Tchiyat Meitim. So what is this bowing? We're basically explaining the bowing is that the bittul has to go all the way to Asiyah. Okay, what does it mean? It says Yiragleh Yirod Mavet, her feet go down to death. That it goes down in the deep level, in all the levels, to give life force and to enclose itself in the Klipa Noga. And then even below Klipa Noga, over there, you have Hashpa Gashmius, the Kochara. So as the things Shefa comes down, when it goes so low, it goes to Klipas Noga, which means the energy goes, the life force goes to where things are potentially good, potentially bad. Then for it to turn physical, it has to go below that. Okay? So when you do tshuva, which is the ha'ara of the Sovkol Almim, you bring the life force back to its source, which is you transform the darkness to light. This is in the pardes, whatever it is, the whole thing there. As it says, Al Yedei Shitkale Kol Echad Mirosh Atzilus Vared V'Nokiv Ad Malchus, you reveal from the head of Atzilus, and it goes all the way to the Malchus. As he Shava El Mekoma goes to its source. Okay, Kol Zeyuvan Gamken Inin Al Yet Malchus. So to what happens? The Malchus goes up. Shahu Yom Tshuva. It's the day of Tshuva. But Tzirich Liot Tchila Hiskafia. First, you have to do Hiskafia. That you love things that are foreign to you. You have to break that love. Okay? Do not be a zoneh. Don't open yourself up to things that are asur to you. Zoneh is called someone whose heart is lahut. He's lit up after things that are foreign, physical needs of the body. Lo yeitavut v'itlahut alev rak b'krirut. He has to be cold to those things. Even if they force him to do it, he has to be cold to that. And the power of his desire that stays in his heart transformed to Hashem alone, as it says, V'el ishech teshukatech, to your wife, to your husband you will desire. What does that mean? Spiritually, it means you only desire Hashem. And this is why it's called Ish Hashem. Mi Mi'ish lokcha zot. From a man I took this, esh yud, because the spark of the beginning goes to the end. Okay, that's what it means. One moment of tshuva and ma'aseh tov in this world is greater than all the world to come, because the world to come represents the revelation of the malakul alim, the light that's enclosed in the world that comes from God's malchus. And as it says, Yachid Cheolamim, Melech Meshubach Mufadeh Shmo Gadol, what does it mean, Yachid? That he himself is the king of the worlds, that all of the life force of the world is only from the aspect of Melech, and that is Meshubach and Mufadeh, he's praised in glory until no end, represents his Shmo Gadol, his great name, which is the name alone. But Tshuva, Ma'asim Tovim, Tshuva, and good deeds, they represent Sol Kalamim, the transcending light. It says, Shuva Yisrael Ad Hashem Elokecha, that the Teshuv Kol Kach, you do so much Tshuva until Havaya, which is the Aura, Ein Sof. The Sof Kalamim will be your God, which is that should come into revelation. And that's what it says, V'aftat Hashem Elokecha, you shall love Hashem, goes on the Echad, that's one with him. Okay, the Echad of V'ahavta, which is the Yachid, which is Sokol Almin, should come in a revelation for the person into Yehuda Tata, and therefore he's uniting them together in his when he says Shema. Okay, we're gonna continue.